Hello Africa, welcome to yet another episode of Footprint Africa. My name is Elasto Capoeja. Yes, on this episode, again, another touchy subject when it comes to awards, whether it's Ballon d'Or, CAF Awards, individual awards, they always get us talking. We are never on the same page when it comes to who our best players are. On this show, we are going to look at different kinds of awards and why is it that awards seem to divide us right across board. Also, maybe to pursue, we'll discuss whether there are other methods, other options that, especially CAF Awards, because we are talking about African football on this show, whether CAF Awards could actually adopt some of the methods that we see them being applied in other sporting codes. Is there a call for a scientific approach? I mean, VAR came. You might argue that VAR is a scientific approach where human intervention kind of was failing us and we ended up going the route of technology. Why are we not using technology when it comes to, really identifying who the best players are? Before we continue with the show, and also for me to bring in my trusted comrades, we always ask you to do the honorable. That is to press that subscribe button. It keeps us going. We want you to be part of this conversation. You've got that comment section. Send your comments, interact with us, ask questions, inform us, tell us what is it that you are also feeling as we discuss. Without further ado, the gentlemen are here with me to make sure that, yes, they help me understand why there's always a controversy when it comes to awards in football. Erobert, Sporting Director Dina, is here. Timothy Batabaire is here with me. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Mr. Dina, which award have you received when you were playing football? That can come to mind and say, but you know what? There was a time when even at school, I was voted.
I remember at Ajax, I was voted Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
There you go. There you go. Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year.
Yes.
Who scrutinize this voting process, whether really it was genuinely legitimate. We want to find out whether Mr. Dina did not push in the brown envelope there. Mr. Barabaire, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Yes, awards.
Sure.
Yes, I think we saw that with the Ballon d'Or, where again, it was a surprise as to the ultimate winner of Ballon d'Or. It's always the case when it comes to these individual awards in football. Football is a team sport. We know that, but there's also some individual brilliance that need to be recognized, that need also to be rewarded. But yes, looking at what happened at Ballon d'Or, now we're talking about the CAF. The nominations are out, 7 categories right across board, different categories there. You can pick and choose which one is which. But again, it's not something that is void of all these controversies. How do you see it when you look at especially the first category, the big one, the Player of the Year category?
Last at this moment in time, this African Ballon d'Or already is raising controversy even before it kicks off.
You call it African what?
Ballon d'Or.
No. Please, Ballon d'Or in Africa, why are we calling it African Ballon d'Or?
We have the Afrophone, that's French.
Oh,
Ballon d'Or is French.
Oh, okay.
So you can call CAF Awards, that's English.
All right.
So it can be the African Ballon d'Or. It's
all right,
fine.
we'll take it for now.
Maybe, should I withdraw Ballon d'Or because of the controversy? If I think I'm inviting them on the African continent, I think I would not. Because it's very interesting. I'm very much interested to find out the criteria that is being used for all the nominees in all the categories that are being put forward.
I think that is the thing, gentlemen, that there seem to be no clear criteria that we can look at and say, okay, this is what informed this decision to be able to come up with these nominations that have come up. Because, there are always question marks. as to, but this one is playing in a particular league, but this one won this league, and all those kind of things. But you're telling me that you spoke to somebody who explained that there is a criteria because these are CAF awards.
Yeah.
Now, the issue is we've got these players that are playing all over the globe. Now, their successes elsewhere, as opposed to their successes on African soil. How, do we able, or can we determine as to, but this one takes precedence over the other? That's always an issue.
Elasto, these are CAF awards, meaning the African continent, the competitions that partake on the African continent take first precedent. Now, the football has to be played between January and October of the awards. Mm-hmm. Therefore, what is the greatest football activity that takes place in that period of time? It's the African Cup of Nations. Therefore, if you are an African player or a player of African origin playing in Europe, wherever you're playing from, and you miss the African Cup of Nations, you're already operating in the minus, irrespective of who you are at that moment in time. Then we have got the club competitions. Now, when it comes that you're playing in Europe, you're advertising African football. We appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And therefore, we put that into consideration. Mm-hmm. But once you decide not to partake at the greatest ceremony, that's the African Cup of Nations, then you are susceptible to missing out on any nomination.
Okay, so Eddie, hearing what Timothy is saying, that the Nations Cup seems to be something that is highly considered when it comes to these CAF awards, especially the first category, the player of the year. Mm-hmm. There are some notable absentees on that list, the likes of Kudus. I think you can take me through some of the names that we're not finding on this list that are, of course, raising eyebrows.
Yes, I will go with the first one that will come into mind. Mm-hmm. Brahim Diaz.
Yes, Diaz.
Real Madrid.
Yeah.
La Liga. Champions League.
What more must he win?
And then he played AFCON.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, he played AFCON.
Yes, he played AFCON. And then so he's not even on the list. Mm.
I mean,
he's not on the list.
I mean, 31 appearances, guys, 8 goals. He wins the Champions League,
what
Super Cup.
What is the criteria that
so,
is being
exactly.
used?
So my question is, so the criteria, is it solely based on team performance or individual achievements? Or is it continental competition? Yes. Does it carry more weight than the domestic ones? Then we would want to know.
That is the problem, gentlemen. If we look at now, or you follow the comments, you follow the feedback that is coming from the football fraternity on the continent. There are always those. We've got unique problems, of course, as Africans, or that most of our players are just all over. There are some that were not born on the continent, and we tend to forget that they're African. Some of them, we see them now when there are these tournaments happening.
Morocco, let's not even go far. Morocco, the Morocco national team, they're all born outside Morocco.
Exactly.
Yes.
So now, and Tim brings this aspect of saying that when they're playing in these top leagues, top is relative as well. What is a top league? And all those. So without things being so clear in terms of this is our criteria, maybe in a data-driven kind of criteria that we can say that, but if you've won the Champions League in Europe, maybe there's a certain or a point system where we allocate a certain number of points, a ranking system of some sort. Without that, it's going to be difficult. We're always going to have, your Mo Salahs, maybe we've been sick and tired of seeing Mo Salah on these nominations, and we end up saying that, no, it's high time that we put somebody else
we give somebody
on
another
that
chance.
list. Ronwen Williams, gentlemen, he's there on that category of the Player of the Year award. But now he's playing in Africa. And how does he compare? How does he fare with players that are playing in top leagues in Europe? Yes, he was the player. Keeper of the tournament.
Elasto, let me first put something, a disclaimer.
Yeah, please do.
The reason you play in the European Champions League is because it's territorial. they belong in Europe.
Who belongs in Europe?
So we belong in Africa. We have got the Africa Champions League. So when William is playing in the Africa Champions League, he's equally playing as if he's in Europe.
So you are comparing, if I hear you correctly, the CAF Champions League, you're comparing it to
It's
the
not comparing.
to UEFA
It
Champions
is.
League.
Yes, it is. It's not. It's not a comparison. It is.
It
is territorial.
So now, if we say
Gents.
no,
It is
no, it's
territorial.
okay. So now, if we say if that's the case, if we put it like that, then that means Ron Williams should win everything.
No. Ron Williams
Yes,
is one of
you
the
should-
candidates nominated.
No, okay, because now we are talking about those competitions in Europe
Yes.
and compared to the ones in Africa.
Africa, yes.
Because Ron has won South African League,
Yes.
Champions League.
The inaugural African Football League,
Yes.
AFN.
He has won
which
those.
was, by the way,
Yes,
rejected in Europe.
Yes. So he has won those competitions.
Yes.
Right. So if we say CAF, so those are CAF.
True.
Okay.
Those are CAF. Those are the exactly competitions that we are looking for.
Okay.
Right. So he has got all of those compared to who?
No, he's a strong candidate. You know, now we are dealing with nomination.
Yeah, no.
He's
What I'm
one,
saying is-
he's one of the nominated candidates.
Yes.
And
But-
he stands a stronger chance of becoming, the player of the year.
The player of the yes.
Yeah, but gentlemen, that's what I'm saying that if you look at Ron Williams, looking at the successes on African soil with the national team, with his club, Mamelodi Sundowns, the kind of keeper he is. Also, he was nominated for Ballon d'Or, isn't
Ballon d'Or,
it?
yes.
As well.
That, number 9.
Yes.
He's in the top 10.
Top 10.
Number 9.
Is it?
Goalkeepers in the world.
In the world.
In the world.
Oh, for the keepers.
Yes,
For
in the
keepers.
world.
So now, if you look at the names that he's competing against in Europe, again, he stands no chance, in my opinion, because you've got players already that are doing. It's like his Ballon d'Or position of being in the top 10. Yes, when he was going there, the whole of Africa would have thought and would have loved to see him be winning that Yashine award.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the case, because now what would stand against him is that he is playing in Africa as opposed to maybe playing in the top league.
But Elastus,
Yes.
if he is in the top 10 of the goalkeepers in the world,
Yes.
why would not win?
So you are saying that he is rightfully nominated for this award.
Yes. Elasto,
Yes.
I want to say this. It doesn't matter whether he's not in Europe. I repeat my position. It is just territorial. If he was in Europe, he will still be one of those. There is a bias that when you are in Europe, then automatically you are so
You
good.
qualify, yes.
No.
Thank you,
it's-
Tim.
It's not. Because as evidently the PSL has showed that there is more funding in the PSL. It's a well-organized league. It's one of the top leagues in the world. It's recognized for that. But we are in Africa. You have seen the same with the Egyptian league. The Moroccan league is coming up. So with the leadership of Dr. Patrice Motsepe, we get our African tournaments up scratch. We shall not be talking about Europe. We shall not get our kids, boys and girls, going to Europe, because we shall have all the funds on the African continent.
Thank you, Tim.
I don't know what you think. You can help us here as to which one holds more weight, playing in Europe? Europe as well. Where? Which part of Europe? Which competition are you playing in Europe? That's another thing. But for the Real Madrid player
Brahim Diaz.
to be missing, I think really it makes a mockery of this list.
These awards. Not the
for
awards.
the player of the year.
Yes.
Elasto.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it does. There we can agree.
I
gentlemen.
think with the able leadership of Dr. Patrice Motsepe,
Okay.
it will not be
Maybe
it will
this-
not be
Yeah, okay.
interference.
Let's talk about
It will be leadership to make sure that at
Okay.
least they revise
Guys.
this nominated list.
maybe before we get to Dr. Motsepe changing, we trust in discretion. Now, these nominations, who is responsible? Maybe let's start there. Maybe we just bypassed as to who exactly is involved in the process of nominating all these individuals.
The
Yeah,
CAF Technical Committee.
The technical committee of CAF, yes.
Media professionals.
Media professionals.
Are they professional enough?
We don't know.
Media
Head coaches.
Head coaches.
And captains of members of the association. Clubs participating in the group stages
there you
of
go.
interclub.
Yes. So,
Of
so if you look at all these different stakeholders, football personalities, and is there no trust in this group that is responsible for this nomination process? Why is there always an outcry and people are not satisfied? Because if you talk about the captains, if you talk about the technical committee of CAF, if you talk about Mr. Sporting Director, coaches are there.
Media too.
The media, you might say, yes, media been around. You know, it becomes so subjective, some of these awards. It's easy to award the top goal scorer. It's very easy.
Yeah.
But when you have to say
Player of the year.
player of the year, who, goal of the tournament.
We might be missing something.
Elasto, you see, we are talking about, you know, it has gone far at this moment in time. In this day and age, where the likes of Pesero, the national team coach then of Nigeria Super Eagles, losing into the finals. You're talking about
Okay, we'll come. Hold that thought. I want you to hold that thought. I want us to just finish this category of player of the year.
No,
there are some names there. Okay, before I get there, you've got a point that you want to say.
Name. There's also name there. Tebogo Mkwena.
Or Tebogo Mkwena. You feel that you could be
Yeah,
on
you
the
could,
list.
yes.
Okay. Now, some of the names for player of the year, maybe the favorite. Hopefully, you guys tell me whether you agree. Ademola Lookman, do you think is the favorite? Looking at his achievements with his club, Atalanta. I just want your thoughts on that, guys.
my favorite.
Ademola Lookman.
No, he okay.
What do you think of him?
He played well.
Yes.
Africa Cup of Nations, even though they lost in the finals.
Yes.
He played well.
So run up.
Yes, and I would
And
say
then he
okay.
goes
and then he goes on
Europa.
to win the
Europa League.
I would say okay, he can stand a chance.
He can stand a chance.
We can.
So now, if you look at Ademola Lookman and you look at the Cote d'Ivoire player Simon Andingra.
Yes.
Now, Andingra wins
Africa Cup of Nations.
AFCON. He doesn't win anything at club level.
At the club
So
level.
now, how now are we able to separate these two?
These two.
That is why I'm having a problem with the way it is at the moment, the CAF Awards. Whether there's a hidden criteria, whether people are just guessing, whether people are just going with
something that we don't know.
That is where
that
I'm like, maybe something need to be done.
We need
because
we need to understand what is it that they look for when they're choosing a player of the year.
Yeah,
because we can guess, we can say whatever we want to say.
Maybe not us, even those people that you mentioned.
But
maybe
in
there's
the
guesswork
end,
as well.
There is no need
Maybe
to
they're
guess.
also guessing.
There is no need to guess. Simon Adriga wins the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate for the CAF Awards. That's one, right? Lookman lost.
He was a runner-up.
He was runners-up.
Yeah.
But he goes ahead at his club level. He wins.
Yes.
So he has
And he scores. Is it a hat trick? He scores in the final.
So he has got an advantage to win it. So the competition is fierce. We have got Ron Williams.
No, we spoke about Ron
but
Williams.
you see,
we're done with. We're going to
that's
come to
when
goalkeepers
Because these are just nominees.
Yeah,
that's why I asked. Continental competitions, do they weigh more than the domestic?
Yeah, but domestic. Which domestic are you referring?
Obviously.
In the African continent.
Yes, African continent.
Because
African continent. I'm not talking about CAF, AFCON. I'm talking about the African competition.
So I might say you are talking about
the Champions League.
Yeah, those continental competitions.
Yes.
Again, the question would be Champions League in Africa versus Champions League in Europe, or versus even Europe. There's even another competition in Europe. What is it called? The conference. What is? There's another one. Yes, there are three guys.
Yes.
So now someone wins the conference. I think there's a player. I'm just forgetting. Who won the conference? Yeah. And now he's also saying I'm missing on the list. So
to be seen to be successful, especially in football, you must win trophies. No one remembers second best.
So, which means you are saying that, but it's an Ademola Lookman, because I want us to focus too much on this two because
Yes.
really it brings the point.
There's even Hakimi.
You see, Tim, it brings the point home of saying that this one is one AFCON. Because you mentioned about also how important AFCON is.
Yes.
So we've got a player who won AFCON, who's on the list. We've got a player who was runners-up at AFCON, but he won a major competition,
Yes.
which is the Europa League.
Yes.
So where do we break the tie there? So there are a lot of these kind of examples. Hakim,
yes.
you are bringing Hakim now.
Yes.
The one who
PSG.
last year I think he was runners-up to the eventual winner, to Victor.
Victor Smith.
So that is the thing, the key in terms of the player of the year. Now, another award we want to look at, guys, is I know Ronnie Williams will feature a lot on that, is the goalkeeper of the year for men's award. Now, again, the same kind of debate might come into place. Now you've got Andre Onana, who plays for Man U. Andre Onana does not have a very good AFCON. He doesn't. Actually doesn't finish it. I think he finished being on the bench. But he's playing, I don't know if I can call it a top side. I don't know. Man U.
Now you're not a Man U fan.
But he wins the trophy.
But yes, he wins them a trophy, yes. But of course, he's playing for Man U. He's playing in the Premier League. I mean, a goalkeeper African, we know how difficult, how hard it is for an African goalkeeper. I mean, you can count them, guys. I don't know. I mean, that's just a few that had that opportunity to play as goalkeepers in the Premier League. Now, how do you compare Onana and also Ronnie Williams? But again, these awards, we mustn't forget, gentlemen, that the awards are for a particular period. You mentioned January
to October.
I would have thought that awards should go in line with the league. They should correspond because the calendar normally will start from your August. It ends in May. So maybe June to June or July, something like that. Then your awards, I feel, should be easier like that. Then you come up and say who was player of the season, looking at that. But nevertheless, it's a specific period that is being covered to determine who was the best player during that period. But now, here are two examples again of a goalkeeper based in Europe and the other one based on the African continent who excelled on the African continent, who was goalkeeper of the tournament in Cote d'Ivoire. How now, is it obvious that he's better than Andre Onana?
It's not obvious. I still believe it's territorial. You are a good player playing on the African continent. When you go to Europe, they're saying, have you played in Europe before? You say no. Not because you cannot play football. They are worried of, will you be able to adopt quickly and play in Europe? So there are so many disadvantages against you. Now, when it comes to Onana and Ron Williams at this moment in time, we're going to say, okay, he plays for Manchester United. It's a big team. We all know. Ron Williams, he plays for Sundowns. It's a big team on the African continent. No, there's no doubt about that. He has won a trophy. How many? One. How many trophies has Ron Williams won? More than one. How many goals has Ron Williams conceded? How many goals has Onana conceded? So when you go into that statistical analysis, you will see that Ron Williams is far better than Onana, save for the territory they are goalkeeping from.
Yeah, but the territory is important, Eddie. Where the players are playing is important because you can be playing for some league there in, we can't mention names because we end up disrespecting other countries, but there are leagues that are more stronger. We know that. There are leagues as well that, with all due respect to Mauritius, you are playing in Mauritius in a league then and you win the championship in Mauritius. Now you're talking about winning a trophy. Does that necessarily mean that now you can compete with a goalkeeper who's playing for Luton Town, for example, in England? You understand? There are all these challenges when determining who actually is the player of the year in Africa. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I do agree.
Yes.
Because as Tim was saying that wherever that you are playing, Onana is playing for Manchester United. Trophies, okay, one, right? And then here we go, we've got Ronald Williams. And I will still go back. He's in the top 10 of the goalkeepers in the world. In the world.
Or in the world.
Ballon d'Or.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Ballon d'Or.
So
Yes.
you are saying that the fact that Ballon d'Or places him in the top 10.
In the top 10.
Case closed.
Case closed.
Okay.
No, case closed. Case
There's
closed.
one.
Because we're talking about world, not Africa.
Let me tell you
In the
something.
world.
Let me tell you something that's very interesting. If you wake up one morning, the whole season in the African continent, and you score 50 goals per season, and Messi scores 20, Ronaldo scores 19, and they say, who was the best scoring player this year? Is the player either from Uganda, Zimbabwe, anywhere else, irrespective. So territory is not important. The difference is when we sit and discuss now, how strong is this league? Where is it located on the world map? Then we are going into those details. But if you are looking for success, if you have never won a medal, you are not successful. You can explain how you played in Europe, but you have never won a medal.
Okay.
So you're not successful.
Now you get to the panel that voted Ronan Williams
Yes.
to be in the top 10 goalkeepers in the world, and then you take the CAF, then they will say, no, Ballon d'Or, no, it's fine. This is not Ballon d'Or, this is CAF.
That's the thing. That is it factored in the issue of Ronan Williams, his position at Ballon d'Or. But yes, I think it should be natural. Okay, guys, let's move on. Let's move on to the next category. I think the Interclub Player of the Year, pretty straightforward. Ronan Williams again shows up. I think there's a player that also did well. Zizo, the player from Zamalek. Yes, I think good player there. So the competition is stiff for whoever can be. Now, coach of the year. There's another issue there. Now we've got a coach, Faye from
but
Cote d'Ivoire.
Before we get there,
yes.
Why is Roland not there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That you're going to say. Let's mention the names.
Let's go slowly.
So we have Messi, Faye, Cote d'Ivoire. Now Faye, of course, we know what happened. Towards the
remind the viewers.
Ivory Coast, of course, Cote d'Ivoire fired the coach in that tournament. They think they're dead and buried, and Faye comes, and all of a sudden, there was Cote d'Ivoire.
He revived Cote d'Ivoire,
going to all the way to win.
Resurrecting from the dead.
Yes. So now, guys, do you give it to him? Because you're talking about winning. You're talking about winning.
Yes.
He won.
Yes.
He won.
But he's not the only one who has won.
No, but what do you mean he's the only one? He won.
Yeah.
How many games? How many games?
Does it matter how many games?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Does it matter?
You can.
Yes. That goes now into the detail. For now, we are having. He's nominated, rightly so. We don't doubt he's being nominated.
But he might be a winner. What are you going to say if he's elected winner?
We don't doubt that. You know, the emotional intelligence now comes into the person who casts the vote. That comes into the technical
They are
team,
listening to
the
you
coaches,
now. The people
captain.
that are going to cast the vote, they are listening. What are you telling them now?
The media, we are saying, please, we need justice.
Justice.
Justice, yes.
I mean, you just spoke about this, that you must be a winner.
What I'm talking about,
he won.
He won.
Of course.
But he's not alone. He's not nominated alone.
No. We
are asking.
No, Tim.
No, the question is simple. Eddie brought up something that is very interesting.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that.
He's trying to look around and he's looking for a certain name and he's not seeing it. And that name is none other than Ronaldo.
That's why
Mukwena.
I want to find out, Eddie, from you, because now, why do you think that Rolani Mokwena should not have been omitted on this list of the nominations?
Look what he's done for Sundowns.
What did he do? Please remind us as well and our viewers.
Competitions, cups that he has won.
Okay.
The same with Ronan Williams. They were together, right?
So he wins the AFL. He wins the local league.
The local league.
The PSL with an avalanche of points. A huge gap
World
between
Cup.
him. Qualifies the team for FIFA Club World Cup.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
You see,
So and then he's omitted.
But he was not coaching at AFCON.
Emotions are very interesting because let me tell you.
So okay,
the ultimate of football is the national team.
Okay.
Now we have Peslo, that's the former coach of Nigeria.
Yes.
Not being nominated. Now, how many teams are on the AFCON?
But or a team.
So that's the first line that we look at before a club coach
Okay.
can come into to be nominated.
Now, I want to suggest something, Tim. You tell me, you guys, whether I'm just off the mark or not. Even you who's watching, you can also just comment on this. The Coach of the Year award, why is it not divided into two? Coach of the National Team Year Award. Coach of the Club Year Award. Because already you are mentioning that coaching a national team should take precedence over coaching a club. Coach, you can tell us, you coach a club, how many games per season do you coach a club
38.
to win things?
Let's say-
On
let's
average,
say,
35 to 38.
35, yeah, 35,
a national team, you guys just laughed at me when I said that Faye, it came towards the end and you said
But
how
one
many
game,
games?
but-
National
but-
team,
but
how
one
many
game,
games?
one game,
Okay, national
one
team.
game.
Mdara, national team. How many, a national team coach, how many games do they coach? They go to tournaments.
They are tournaments,
A tournament is
but-
at most how many games?
We are talking about a tournament.
Yeah.
Yes, that happened that happened now at Ivory Coast.
Yes.
Right. So how many games was he in charge?
I think one or two. I think it was the.
So you deserve
he went
to
to the
be-
quarter final,
Mr.
semi-final, then final. 3 games.
No, two games. Should be two games. So now you have got the right to be nominated
Yes.
as the coach of the year
Okay, let me
for those 2 games.
Yeah.
Elasto and Eddie. For me, this is my 2 cents.
Share
One,
with us. Mhm.
a club coach or club coaches have got the responsibility to prepare the players for the national team. The national team coach just selects what the club coaches have prepared, and he gets the cream, and then he molds them to be the national team. So, in a way, the two should not put on a different weighing scale. They should be recognized. Now, when we are talking about why Lulani Mukwena is missing, we are looking at the success that he has achieved as that pressure cooker of a club that has produced players for the national team coach. The likes of Ronnie Williams are coming from the hands of the likes of Lulani. Lukman, in that moment of time, is coming from the likes of Pesero. So we have to have in that moment, that's when we say emotional intelligence comes in when you are a voter. When you're going to cast that vote to say, who is the best national team coach? Those factors should influence your vote.
Okay. I think for me,
based on-
I still maintain that this category has to be reviewed. I think it has to be separated. There should be a club coach of the year and a national team coach of the year. That's what I think. And for you, Mr. Dina, just to put you on the spot there, of these coaches, because you wanted Lulani Mukwena, but who do you think, if you were to put your money on, that can be the coach of the year? On these names, you've got your Pedro Goncalves, you've got your Marcel Koller of Al Ahly. I think he's done well, the Al Ahly coach in Egypt. I think he's done very well as well. Hugo Bruce of South Africa, he's there.
I wanted to say I would
Yes.
put my money on Hugo Bros.
Or you put your money.
Yes.
There you go. Eddie says money is on
Is it
Hugo
an
Bruce.
emotional vote?
No, it's not.
Where's your money on?
I protest to
Okay,
vote.
guys, let's move. Now I think I want us to finish with this one because there's so many categories here. We can't go through all of them. Again, you see how it has been divided. Team of the year. There's national team of the year. There is, of course, club of the year. But now, why, Tim, do we have a club of the year? Even Uganda is there on the national team of the year. What is Uganda doing on this list? I mean, Uganda. Why do we have nominations? Is it not supposed to be obvious, clear-cut, that the country that wins AFCON, especially in the year where there is a tournament like AFCON, that country is obvious. So why do we have to bring Uganda into it? We have to bring countries like Mozambique. Maybe you can tell me you're from Mozambique. Tell me why is Mozambique there on this list? You have to bring countries like, of course, there are some that win AFCON. Countries like Nigeria, runners-up. Sudan. I mean, Sudan is there, guys. Sudan is there. So that is my question. Can't we just announced that the team of the year
The Cote d'Ivoire.
is Cote d'Ivoire. Why do we have all these countries on this list?
No, it goes back to the criteria that is being used. For example, you're having African
Or
teams.
lack thereof.
For example,
Maybe there is no
you see,
criteria.
for example, at this moment in time, yes, because of the fact that we want better infrastructure in various countries, you're finding that there are some countries that are not playing in their own country, and they are competing. You have got countries that are at war. For example, we had a scenario where we had Libya, which was playing away from Libya,
Okay.
as opposed to playing. So there are some countries that have played under conditions that are beyond that.
Hard circumstances, difficult circumstances.
That they are nominated to see if they can qualify to be the football team of the year. Now, winning the championship is one that gives you more points, but not necessarily that it should qualify you.
I like
to
more
be that.
points. I
Yes.
like more points.
So
I like
we have
that.
got so many issues we are looking at. What is, for example, maybe your FA. For example, we are talking about Zimbabwe. At this moment in time, has got a nomination committee. So it means that nothing is very normal happening in Zimbabwe, but they are partaking and participating. So they are going against all odds, and then they qualify for the African Cup of Nations. Then they reach the finals, the semi-finals. You will find that such a country is far better than a country that actually has won the championship.
It's like what Tim is saying. I don't know if I would agree with what Tim is saying. It's like when we say player of the year, and maybe you are this player who has gone through so much challenges, and you get to be close to winning, or you. I mean, really, otherwise everyone's going to come with a story that, look, my situation, my circumstance, this. At the end of the day, football must reward a winner. That's what I feel that should be our criteria or our benchmark. You must be a winner to be given this, unless there are special awards that can speak about somebody, rising above adversity to eventually not necessarily winning, but really, achieving something. I don't know what you call that. Club of the year, they're the likes of TP Mazembe. Again, the same. If you win the Champions League, I mean, there's Al Ahly. There are teams like Dreams FC of Ghana.
They've been producing players to go
so
and
that's
play
why
in
they are there.
Probably that's why they are
But
there.
producing, we want somebody who has won.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying.
Well, now, the other issue, gentlemen, as well, for the team of the year, Eddie, because now team of the year, it looks like it's these African clubs. Obviously, it has to be African clubs based in Africa. Now, Confederations Cup, Champions League, who takes precedence of the other? So Zamalek wins Confederations Cup, Al Ahly wins Champions League. Who do you give club or team of the year in this instance?
I would give it to a team that wins Champions League.
That is what I'm saying. That is my point, Tim, to say that. Do we need to have nominations for team of the year when we've got a competition like the Champions League, when we've got the Confederations Cup? But again, the Champions League,
because it's the champions.
Carries more weight.
Yes, carries more weight than the Confederations Cup.
So why do you bring all these other teams?
You see what is interesting is that in the group, after the group stages, once the champions are sieved to be the champions, those who have less performed drop down into the lower league. So what is happening is the Champions League takes precedent, but then we go into the deeper statistical analysis of how a team has come to perform. So yes, when you win the Champions League, it's the ultimate. You stand a higher chance of being the team of the year. But you'll find that there's another team that has won maybe the Confederation Cup, that has performed over and above.
They can't perform over and above. They're supposed to play Champions League. Now the other, they're supposed to play Champions League.
Worse if it's Zamalek.
Yeah, they're supposed to play Champions
It's a
League.
well-known team, a very big team that should be playing in the Champions League.
Okay, gentlemen, as we are now coming to the end of the show, is the question that I want to ask my Leonard colleagues here in terms of this technology. I think in my introduction, I mentioned that football introduced VAR to support the referees. Why are we not also using technology evidence-based data approach in terms of coming up with a criteria that can bring us closer. Because, for example, if you play Champions League, it's like a point-based system. You get given a number of points. It's like ranking. Because if you look at the ranking, how it applies, gentlemen, even the clubs themselves, it's easy to determine a club of the year because at the very instance, at the moment, there is a ranking system that is used for seeding of draws. When there's a draw, when they're doing these group stages and so forth, isn't it they look and say for the last 5 years, this is how Sundowns is ranked and so forth. So why are we not having a ranking system? Why are we not coming up with a scientific approach where we could actually allocate points to these major tournaments and as well maybe to the league that you're playing? Like I'm saying that someone who plays in the Mauritian league, it shouldn't be taken in the same light as someone who's playing in the PSL. So what do you think of this kind of an approach? Is it something that can be looked at to try to help? We might not get 100% or perfect. Every system has got its flaw. But don't you think that, coach, you are introducing also technology in your coaching? Why are we not doing that when it comes to awards?
Yeah, with the awards, I think there's only one thing that I'm going to say.
Yes, please.
And if you can allow me.
I'm listening.
Dr. Motsepe, we would like to have you here on our podcast so that you can be able to answer some of these questions that we have, us and the viewers and the listeners too. So please, next time.
There you go, the president. But now talking about, before you come in, remember, where are the awards happening, guys? In
Morocco, in Marrakesh.
In Marrakesh.
On the 16th of December.
So, the three of us, we've got a name, they call us the Terrible Trio. So know that. Now, the Terrible Trio wants to be in Marrakesh. So I know Eddie says the president of CAF must be on this platform. But before he comes to this platform, maybe our appeal now to our viewers, to everyone, we want to be covering those awards. We want to be there, guys. We have to be in Marrakesh. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
We are going to be in Marrakesh.
In Marrakesh.
Now you can go ahead, sir.
When it comes to technology, VAR has proved that without integrity, it can be controversial.
Okay, so
So as we request for this statistical data analysis, we are also calling upon the growth of development of the manpower, the administrative manpower to be integral. Integrity has to take precedent so that we don't have to question the things. So that what you're supposed to say, how many trophies has Rulani Mkwena won, and you want to change it from 2 to 1, so that we have everything to be clear.
Yeah.
Statistics are there, the data is there. Let's play according to the statistics.
Yeah, because other sporting codes, you look at what happens in basketball, they use some metrics of some sort to try to determine the most valuable player. Yes, you look at sports like rugby as well. If they come up with their player of the year, there's a lot of stats that support that kind of a decision. But I just feel that in football, it is too much of a subjective kind of decision that at times it leaves a lot to be desired, is scrutinized, and again we end up, discrediting these wonderful, players that would have done so well. So in the sense of where this technology can be used, because now maybe even AI, artificial intelligence, maybe can be applied. Maybe it must come and save us, where we feed in all this data and it generates some sort of, options of those that can be, nominated or voted or awarded. Of course, there is that human touch. It is there, so it's just a combination. But these are just suggestions. I think, you can also, tell us as we end the show what you think of that. But yeah, gentlemen, it has been great talking about these awards. Yes, we are really telling you that we want to be there. There's no way that after talking like this about awards and we are not in Marrakesh. So Morocco, we want to be there, here we come. So I'm sure there's somebody watching who is going to make sure that we are in Morocco to witness those awards. It has been a great pleasure being in your company, and continue to send those comments. Discussions must go on and on and on until we meet again in another episode of Footprint Africa. Cheers.